Coming up on Beavers All Access, 2 OSU gymnasts catch fire in a showdown in the desert. The softball team needed to come from behind twice to finish out the Ducks in a classic Civil War battle. And a packed house of baseball fans celebrated more OSU late-inning heroics.
Back to the track, to the fence, so long!
Beavers All Access starts right now.
The Beavers win!
From the Big River Restaurant in downtown Corvallis, this is Beavers All Access. Here's your host, Todd Mansfield.
Welcome back, everyone. So glad you're joining us. Hope you enjoyed your spring break. I know we enjoyed ours around here. Chance to kind of regroup, if you will, maybe take a breath. Now we've got to gear up because it's time for all of the spring sports at Oregon State. But first, we're going to focus in on their brand new look. Oregon State has unveiled a new logo for Beaver Athletics. The new OS logo will be secondary to the nationally established Beaver head. OS is a spirit mark that has been implemented by some teams, including the defending baseball national champions. The wrestling team has concluded the season at the 2007 NC2A Championships. Heavyweight Ty Watterson placed fourth and became Oregon State's first All-American since Nathan Coy. Oregon State placed 26th in the team standings with 22 points, the Beavers' highest finish in 6 years. Jean Marie Peterson moved up Oregon State's list of all-time top 10 performers in the 3,000-meter steeplechase Friday at the Willamette Invitational. Peterson finished the race in just under 11 minutes 7 seconds to become second on Oregon State's all-time list. Haley Ovison also improved her PR by 9 seconds in the 1,500-meter. Coach Riley has his troops back out on the gridiron following up their 10-3 campaign last year. It's now time for the Beavers to fill some holes, including locating a brand new quarterback. But that's not all. Offensively and defensively, great battles are raging as the team prepares for their spring football game on April 28th at Reser. Tickets are available now. If that's not a teaser, fall football will arrive sooner than you think. So while you have the time before the kids get out of school, use those extra hours on Saturday, April 7th, 14th, and 21st to get to the Guild ticket office. They're going to be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on those days, while Monday through Friday, they are continually open 8:30 to 4:30. Now, you have seen the student athletes perform on the field. Tonight's the night you can see them on stage at the 5th Annual Other Side Talent Show. The event will take place at LaSalle Stewart Center. Silent auction at 6:30. The talent show is unveiled at 7. Now joining me is Pat Casey, the men's baseball coach at Oregon State, the head coach of the national champions from last season. Coach, I can never ask you this question too much. You win the national title in Omaha, and just carrying that around with you, how has that been as you've headed into the start of this season?
Well, there's a lot of good things about it. There's also some things I'd like to go away, like expectation levels for this new club we have. But what a great experience, obviously, not only for our team, but for the entire state of Oregon, Pacific Northwest, and I think baseball in general. Having a club come out of the Northwest and win a national championship, I think, is a shot in the arm for baseball across the country. But we got a lot of things that we need to accomplish, some big shoes to fill, and I think our guys are having a little bit of a struggle with feeling like they're the 06 club and they're not. And I'm trying to make them realize that the 06 club wasn't as good as the 05 club, 25 games into it, and we got to be the best club we can be, and not worry about some of the things that are out there as far as winning another national championship. First thing you got to do is win your conference or get somewhere close, and then you got to win a regional, then a super regional, then you got to get to Omaha. So let's take one step at a time. It
is a long process. One of the things everybody loves about being in the Northwest, of course, is the weather and the way it changes. That forces you to play so many games at the start of the season on the road, 17, 18 games sometimes, non-conference. Take me through that this season. How did that go for the team, not just record-wise, but as a whole?
Well, I think first of all, when you go on the road for 20 games, 17 games, there's a lot of things they wear on you. You miss class, kids get tired. You got to stay focused. I thought we did a great job of being on the road. Matter of fact, we kind of used it as kind of a time to bond and a time to come together. We had a bad thing happen to us where we were scheduled to stay on the road. Our guys were a little bit worn, and when they came back from Arizona, we had a pretty good knot on our head, and we had to recover from that.
Well, and one of the great things about home is it's looking so good. The fans really came out for that home opener against USC. That you go 2-1 on the weekend, an exciting time.
Yeah, I thought we did some good things. You know, I think USC's a good club. I felt like, you know, the second game we were a little frustrated with, you know, the things that we didn't do. But, you know, it was a good series. A walk-off home run. Can't get any better than that, man. We had great crowds. The weather was great. And, you know, you get that kind of enthusiasm at the ballpark. Those are things that everybody looks forward to.
Well, certainly that can catapult the team as they proceed in the Pac-10s. We're going to go ahead and take a break. There have been a lot of changes going on out at the ballpark. We'll talk about that and a lot more when we come back in just a moment.
Next on Beavers All Access, the new upgrades at Goss Stadium have everyone talking. The Beavers used the long ball to get the Civil War party started, and the women's golf team went low on the final day and sliced up the school record books. Don't go away. More Beavers All Access is straight ahead.
You're watching Beavers All Access on Fox.
The women's golf team had quite a weekend. They placed third at the Peg Barnard California Collegiate on Saturday. They set a team record with an even par 284 on Saturday. It was the lowest round recorded by a team on the weekend. Martha Burkhardt tied the school record with a 3 under 68 and tied for 4th place overall. Jessie Gebhardt recorded her 3rd top 10 finish in her last 4 tournaments. And as for the team's overall score, it was lower than 7 other teams who are currently ranked higher than the Beavers. We are back once again. Pat Casey, the men's baseball coach, is joining me. And, Coach, you know, we talked as we were going to break about some of the upgrades in the facility that you guys play in, and it keeps getting better every year. And for those that have seen it, they know, but for those that haven't, you guys have taken this ballpark to a level that may not be matched in the country right now.
Yeah, you know, and it's only going to get better. You know, our problem right now is we can't get enough people in, and that's a good problem to have. But it's beautiful. I mean, the ballpark looks great, and, you know, everybody out there that's been there knows how fun it is to come to a place where there's a lot of people. You know, nobody wants to go to a ball game and make sure that the guy sitting next to him is 4 rows down and 5 rows up, and so it's exciting.
You know, it's been a busy time this spring for me personally. I was able to broadcast a few of the games and see the fans. I mean, they are piling in right now. It's really something in which you don't see anywhere else. It's kind of a surprise.
Well, and I think the biggest thing about that is what it's done for our recruiting. You know, you bring a recruit in here, and he sits there, and there's 2,500 to 3,000 people jammed trying to watch a game, another 1,000 standing outside trying to get in. It makes a big difference because there's a lot of places in our conference, there's 150, 200 people show up, and kids don't want to play in that venue. You know, they want to go someplace where there's some enthusiasm, some excitement. They know some people want to come out. Our guys come out after a game, there's 75, 100 kids waiting for autographs. So, you know, we've kind of created that atmosphere that it makes it a great place to go watch a game, great place to bring a kid, and a great place for a kid to come and play.
And I wanted to ask you, in the little time that we have left, you got Cal coming up at home this weekend. Tell me, if you can, briefly about this team.
Well, you know, Ross, the kid will throw on Friday nights, about as good as anybody in the country. He lost 1-0 to Arizona last week in 11 innings. Was a freshman All-American. So their pitching's going to be good. I think that they've got enough offense that they're going to be a threat. We just got to, you know, get into doing the things that we do well and not worry about what we can't do. And I think that's one of our problems. It has been a little bit is, like I said earlier, you know, we are the 07 club, and we got people that are inexperienced. 5, 6, 7 of our starters haven't played Division I baseball game before. We need to get back to doing the basics of baseball. We'll be fine.
Yep. Good
All
luck.
right, man.
Coach, thanks
right.
as always.
Thank
Coach Pat Casey joining us there. Men's baseball coach, they get ready for another home series. We'll see you out at the ballpark, and we'll also see you in just a moment when we continue with more Beavers All Access.
Coming up on Beavers All Access, if you think that sports are for dumb jocks, you haven't met Tanya, Oregon State's recent Fulbright grant winner. But up next, Kirk Walker tells us about one of the best Beaver comebacks in Civil War history. Beavers All Access rolls on in a moment. Beavers All Access is brought to you by Standard TV and Appliance and by the Big River Restaurant, home of Beavers All Access. the Big River Restaurant in downtown Corvallis. Here's your host, Todd Mansfield.
Last month, Oregon State senior cross-country and track student athlete Tanya was awarded a prestigious Fulbright grant, which is enabling her to spend the next 12 months in New Zealand and work with the world leaders in the field of environmental management. It wasn't something that came very easy for her, but when it did come, she was excited. She tells us now how it all came about.
I first became interested in the Fulbright grant through friends who had thought about applying, had applied, were just discussing the Fulbright program, and realized that this was a fantastic opportunity for me to do something I've always wanted to do, which is to go abroad, study abroad, and learn from people in other countries. I began my Fulbright proposal last June and started contacting people in New Zealand, at the University of Auckland, different universities around the country, and started talking to people in the Green Party, trying to make contacts to figure out exactly how I wanted to form my study proposal. I decided that I wanted to work with John Craig at the University of Auckland and Jeanette Fitzsimmons in the Green Party, and made them my main contacts, and then started to develop my proposal, basing it around my studies, knowing that I wanted to study environmental management and work towards my postgraduate diploma in science, and then just throwing in some little attachments like who I wanted to work with, who I wanted to intern with while I was there. I actually started to really write my proposal by about the end of August. Spent a lot of brain time thinking about it, hashing out ideas, writing my curriculum vitae, which is one of the most fun things I've ever gotten to write. It was just all about me, who I was, the self-declared Idaho ragamuffin. And I pretty much had the basic template for everything by the time I came back to school in September. At that time, I really started making my contacts for my letters of recommendation, got my 3 letters, got to work with some professors who are really fantastic, helped me kind of, perfect my proposal, and then submitted it by the end of September. I got my notice of being a finalist sometime in February, and from that point I had to wait, and I knew that I would be getting my letter of either acceptance or non-acceptance sometime between February and June, and that's a very long period of time. But I began checking my mail religiously, coming home really excited to see if there was any mail. No mail for a couple of weeks, and then finally early March I came home and there was a big package, and it happened to be from the Fulbright committee, and at that point I almost couldn't open it, but my mom pushed it to my roommate, just told me, you have to open this. So I got inside the house, opened the package, and the first thing I read was congratulations, and I freaked out. I just threw the package in the air. My roommate and I did a little dance around my living room, and finally about 10 minutes later, after I calmed down, I actually sat down, got to read through my application acceptance, and got to kind of look into the logistics, and I just have been pretty much on a high ever since.
Now joining me are 2 very special guests, Kirk Walker, the women's softball coach here at Oregon State, and his 8-month-old daughter, Ava. And we may be getting a few words from her as the show goes on, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll hear from her.
That's right. So glad you're here. An opportunity to talk about this year's team, and along with that, the Civil War that you just went through, one of the best ever.
Absolutely. It was by far one of the best Civil War games I've ever been involved in my 13 years. So we certainly we're glad to come out on top of it, but it was a very exciting ball game.
Yeah, it's creating a great stir with softball here in the state of Oregon. As you look at that and what happened, one of your senior leaders, she has been for some time, Brianne McGowan. I mean, what can you say about her? She has become the best pitcher ever, and she's not bad at the plate either.
She's had a great year, but more importantly, she's been a great player for us for a long time. And specifically in that game, she had a great impact, obviously hitting 2 home runs and throwing the complete game. So it was exciting for her to step up and really lead the way, and I think really kind of prove to everyone that she's capable of being dominant at both the plate and in the circle.
Yeah, well, Ava's got some things to say about her as well, and she knows that Brianne is very dominant in the circle and has been tremendously helpful. And that leadership, the way she's done so well there, is really going to parlay into what you have coming up. UCLA coming in for 1, Washington coming in for 2. Let's talk about those 2 teams.
2 great teams, both ranked slightly above us. I think they're 10 and 16 or something like that in the country, and they're 2 great teams, and both bring in great pitching. Danielle Lowry from Washington has done a great job, and Angelica Selden has really been a dominant pitcher. So they've got great pitching coming in, and both, offensively, can't overlook them. They've got some pop in their bats and some speed in their lineup, so it should be exciting.
How about for you guys right now as you head into that Pac-10 conference and make that stretch run? What has been so impressive for you with this group? Still, there's a lot of youth, a lot of freshmen that have moved up to sophomores. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, you know, it's really a dynamic team, and we've got 5 seniors really that are playing and contributing a lot. But you look at the rest of our team, and we're very, very young. We've got sophomores in key positions. So obviously, second base and first base and behind the plate. So those are just sophomores.
Is there any extra pressure they might be putting on themselves because of last year's appearance, first ever at the World Series for your team?
Well, you know, I think we've been trying to figure out what it is that they've been feeling a little bit different. But I don't know if it's pressure or just not sure of how to try and repeat it or trying how to recapture it. So we're working through that, and hopefully they can just go out and keep playing hard, and their ability speaks for itself.
Well, there's no doubt they have the ability. We've seen all of that, and you will get the opportunity to see that this weekend. They take on, again, UCLA on Friday and Washington on Saturday as well. Best of luck. Coach, thanks for joining us. And Ava, thank you for joining us as well.
Great.
All right,
Thanks
Coach will join us again, hopefully in the future, and we'll be able to talk more about this team as they head towards the top of the Pac-10. We'll take a break and be back in just a moment. I'm Todd Mansfield. This is Beavers All Access.
Coming up next on Beavers All Access, Tanya Chaplin tells us why the Beavers gymnastics team will be looking for payback as they head back to the desert this weekend. There's more Beavers All Access after the break. From the Big River Restaurant in downtown Corvallis, this is Beavers All Access.
Todd Mansfield and the head coach of the gymnastics program here at Oregon State, Tanya Chaplin. This is one of the most exciting times, I think, of the year, especially for gymnastics. You're just coming off Pac-10s. You're getting ready for the NC2A regionals. But let's talk for a moment about the Pac-10s, because that was an exciting time this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, our athletes did a great job. They went down to Arizona after a spring break week, which was nice to have our team here, no distractions, training. They went down and they had a great workout the day before, a solid warm-up, and then started off solid with 6 hits on bars. And it was really good to see them come out with that type of confidence going into the Pac-10 championships.
When we talk about that competition, 2 of your leaders all year, Tasha and Jamie, talk about their performances, because when the final numbers came out, they were right there at the top.
Yes, Tasha finished a second all around, and Jamie was third, and you could see it all the way through. Tasha Smith was on fire from the very beginning. You knew that she was on a mission, and she went out there and nailed every performance. She fought for everything, and her floor routine was phenomenal. It was nice to see that she got the entire Arizona State crowd into her floor performance. Jamie, again, another solid performance. She just puts the numbers up week in and week out, and it's great to have 2 all-arounders that are that solid, sophomores, that'll be around the program for 2 more years, going out and doing their job and competing like seasoned veterans or seniors.
Second and third overall in the Pac-10. That is quite impressive. The team finishes 3rd out of 7th. That allows you to go in with even more confidence now, a 9th ranking into the regionals. Let's talk about the 6 teams that you will be matching up with down at the McHale Center in Arizona.
Yeah, well, we actually ended up ranked overall 8th.
8th?
But what happened was with the tiebreaker, we ended up going into the 9th seed.
Okay.
So we are going down to a venue that we're very comfortable with. We've competed down at the University of Arizona many times. Earlier this year we did compete down there, but we didn't have our full lineup in. Tasha Smith was out, as well as Yuki Lamb, and now we have 2 very solid performers back in for us. We're also very comfortable with the teams that we're competing against. We've seen Stanford, we've seen University of Arizona, ASU all compete. So that will be nice to be able to go down and have those comfort levels there from the start.
And the rotation worked out real well for you.
Yeah, we couldn't ask for a better rotation. We got the home draw, so we actually start on vault, And since there are 6 teams, we will go vault by, bars, beam, by floor exercise. And so it should be a great event down there.
It's not on TV. How will people stay up with what's happening on Saturday?
Well, you can watch the live stats either through OSUBeavers.com, or the University of Arizona's website. Either one, they will have. I know the University of Arizona has a South Central update that they'll keep continuing throughout their website as well.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, that's coming up this weekend. The team leaves tomorrow. And also remember, this team, they're going to all be back next year. So the excitement continues for Coach Chaplin and the gymnastics program. Good luck this weekend, and we will chat with you after the regionals. It could be on to Salt Lake City for the big championship.
Thank you.
All right, that's Tanya Chaplin. And that's going to do it for today's show. So glad you joined us. We hope to see you again for another edition of the show we like to call it, The Big Show, Beavers All Access. I'm Todd Mansfield. Take care.